Good morning, y'all. I hope you guys are doing just fine. But for those of you that aren't, this message is for you. Why do we sometimes get anxious and get overwhelmed with certain situations? My dog's licking himself and his chain over here, his little neck collar thingy is hitting the ground. It's going tick, tick, tick. Can you hear? Ignore that. So why do we sometimes struggle? There are many reasons, but I want to focus today on talking about doing that particular thing that you want to do so much, and you keep avoiding it. You know that you could do it, but deep inside, or not so deep, right in the back of your mind, you think I'm not good enough, or I'm gonna fail. Every time I try doing something, I never finish. What if somebody starts talking about me or start bullying me on social media? Let's say you want to start posting something. Let's say you want to start working out, and your family members are going to start making fun of you because you started doing that before and you didn't accomplish your goal. You want to go back to school and you are scared that you're going to fail and that you're not going to have the support that you need. All of those meanings or those excuses that we put in the back of our heads. And those keep us from achieving what we really want to achieve. I'm here to tell you that whatever that calling that you have here inside, and you know what I'm talking about, all of us have that deep calling within. We know it from when we were a little girl, a little boy, and we grew up. We have that desire to do whatever that may be. Along the way, that desire could have, diminished a little bit, or it could have grown, but it really depended on the circumstances that, events that happen in your life. It could have diminished and it could have grown. Now, we all have that deep. Remember when you were younger and you envisioned yourself being a certain way, or you just wished you were a certain way, or did something, or played certain sports or whatever. Or even some of us actually pretended to be doing that particular thing. Like with me, for example, I never really thought that I would be speaking to so many people and preaching and doing workshops. Never, because I was very, very intimidated. My self-esteem wasn't that great because, like I mentioned before, things happen in my life that really took the focus from what I wanted to be to a different direction, because I started believing the lies, that people would project, or sometimes I would think that they project. It wasn't even a reality, but in my head, because my self-esteem wasn't the greatest, so I just assumed and believed in those negative thoughts that would come into my mind, and I labeled myself as that. But before all that happened, I used to pretend that I remember being in the mirror, like in front of the mirror, and talking kind of like what I'm doing right now, but I had an audience, and I would pretend to be a businesswoman. Don't know the business, but I would answer questions. And I always, deep inside of me, I always wanted to be my own boss, have my own company, run my own show, and be able to help people in whatever they needed. So this was something deep within me that is who I am, and it was part of my blueprint of life. We all have a blueprint, okay? And if our blueprint is not matched with our circumstances, like with our life today, we will not be happy. That's when anxiety, dissatisfaction, is that a word? If not, you got it, right? When you're unsatisfied with your circumstances, with your life, where you are right now, that's when it happens, okay? Because your life, your current life right now is not matching your blueprint. And that blueprint is created a long time ago. I could talk about what is a blueprint in details in another video, okay? But for now, it's just something that you really desired. It was ingrained in your heart a long time ago, okay? And that is you believe deep in your core that that is what you were meant to follow and live, okay? So going back to my childhood and this, desire that I had, and I would pretend to be something. Like, I would do this very often, guys, and I wasn't a kid. Like, I think I stopped doing that when I was 14 years old, okay? Because then I started being more into school, and then I moved back to Canada when I was 15, and then, I met my husband later on, and then it was just like, okay, then I got married. Life took me into, a different direction, let's say, or I decided, subconsciously just to go to a different direction. So I looked for a job. I applied to many places. So my first job was at Second Cup. Then I went to La Senza. Then I worked at, it's called the Children's Place, but it's not Children's Place, the clothes store. It's a facility where they take care of kids that have some kind of issues, like at home, like rebellious kids, or kids that they have some kind of a certain need and some addictions, like stuff like that. So I worked in a place that took care and provided needs for those type of kids. Long story short, all my life I was searching to find something that would fulfill that need that I wanted, what I wanted to really be. And nothing, I couldn't stay in one job. I never got fired from any job because everything that I did and everything that I do in my life, I try to take it very serious and I do the best that I can, but that doesn't mean that I'm happy doing that, right? So I decided to go to school, and then I got pregnant. I stopped, and I stayed with my kids. That was really amazing. I loved that time when I was with my kids. But then after my son, I had my daughter and then my son. My daughter got older. My son got a bit older. Then he started going to school. And that was when it hit me. And I was like, okay, now what are you going to do with your life? What are you going to do? Like, are you going to go back searching for, on that search again to fill? So I decided to go back to school. Now, to make a long story short, I have 4 diplomas, okay? Not certificates. I have way more. I believe I have 7 or 8 certificates. No, these are diplomas. Okay, I don't even remember. So that's for you guys to see that I was really searching and I wasn't happy, okay? So I'm talking to you guys that don't know what to do in your life, but you are really unhappy where you are right now. You have to dig deep in your soul and pray. Ask God for guidance, okay? And He will show you the way. So in the midst of like all of that, and I had spent so much money, and all my school I paid up front. Like I was just, I didn't have any more. I couldn't go into more. And I said no more school, because I was becoming a professional student, if you know what I mean, okay? But the funny part, looking back now, I realized that I needed that schooling. Like I needed to go to all those schools because my self-esteem when it came to studying and it came to learning was so little that I thought I would never make it. So God really, he used these decisions that I decided to take in my life and to use for myself. He gave that, and it built my character, like it built my self-esteem, because now I know that I could do whatever I want to do, and I could take any course and pass. And I passed, like I graduated with honors in 2 of the schools that I went to. Okay. And until today, I kind of like, I think I made a mistake, or like, how did I graduate it with honors? Right. But I needed that. Okay. But then when I graduated, I was still not happy, because I would apply to so many places, and a lot of the times they loved me, and I would go for the interview, and they really, like, they were ready for me to start, but I didn't like it. I was like, no, this is not for me. I don't like it. I don't like the environment. I don't like the office. I don't like it. What I'm trying to say is that in my heart, I am not built to have somebody boss me around, or for me to do something under someone else's schedule. That's who I am. Not everybody is like that. I was built, I was created, okay, and developed to be this person that I am today. Thank the Lord, I finally found it, but it took me 36, 37, almost, years to find it. So, and all of this throughout, this was many years, guys. I was in school for 6 years, I believe, in total. It was very frustrating, and I had so much anxiety, and I was frustrated, and even my husband was like, what do you want to do? Like, you keep on going from one school to another school, like, just finish one, get a job, stick with it. And inside of me, I couldn't do that, right? But I also didn't know exactly what I wanted. However, I did know, but because I was looking for maybe, society's approval, like I have to be like everybody else. I have to go find, a job that is indoor or maybe even outdoor, but that somebody bosses me around. I have to go and look for a company that will pay me, this amount of money. Like, I have to find a job, from 9 to 5, full time. You have to work 5 days a week, if anything, 6 days a week, whatever. Like, that didn't fit with who I was. So I was like, my God, why am I so different from everybody else? Why? Why do I have this inside of me and I'm not satisfied in any job? So this is where another part of my life where I hit rock bottom, and I prayed. And my amazing creator, God, my best friend, Jesus, like, he really showed me. And I fasted, okay? So the fasting is when you take time from eating, like you stop eating for a certain amount of hours, and you dedicate yourself into the Word of God. You read, because we talk to God by praying, and God speaks to us through his Word. Okay, and it's amazing how it's really amazing how the Word is alive. And when I don't know if you've ever heard that, but the Bible is alive. The words are real. And when you really have faith and believe in that, and God will show you exactly what you needed to hear at the moment when you need. Like, you could have read that like 3 times, 4 times, 6 times before, but it didn't hit you the way it was supposed to hit you until you open your heart and you ask God, please, intervene and show me. Take this veil from my eyes and let me see what I need to see. That it's most of the time right in front of our eyes and we can't see it. And boom, 3 people on that day came to me and said the same thing, what I had just read. And I was like, okay. And it brought me back to, like, it just brought me back to my childhood, like what I really wanted to be. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to work for anybody. I never did. And that's why I'm so unhappy. I need to find something that I could be my boss. I could run my schedule and make my own schedule and be that person that I want to be. Now, how? What am I going to do? I've always loved helping people. And all my studies and in school, I was always in the health field, okay? Always. I, became a medical office administrator. I even became my first diploma that I got way back then was a PSW, personal support worker. So I did, and then I took a bunch of other stuff so anyways, I always wanted to help people, okay? Be involved with the human, okay? With human beings. And another thing that has completely changed my life was healthy lifestyle that I was learning because my son was very sick. I was not well at the time. This is a little bit before I started going to school. My family wasn't doing too well physically either. So I started to be really interested in the holistic approach, in the mind, the body, and the spirit. And the Bible talks about that, and our principles, at our church, and we talk a lot about the mind, body, spirit too. So I'm like, wait a minute, I have the background, I have the principles, why not do something in that area? And I remembered, today she's my mentor. Her name is Carol Verbenek. She was someone that I really looked up to, and I remember the first time I went to her house, her office. She has a home office, and I went to her house because I brought my son there. She was one of the tools that God, it was one door that God opened for me and said, go there and you're going to get the help that you need for what you're going through at this moment. She's going to help you with that. So when I went there, she was really an answer to my prayers, because my son was dying. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't rely on the doctors because they gave me no hope. Nothing was happening, and the kid was really, really ill. He wasn't growing. The medication he was taking was depleting his growth. He was having problems with his bones, it was a mess. Okay, my life was horrible. Go to my website. You could read a little bit about why. So I went to her house, and she has this huge, big house all the way out and really far. And I was like, wow, and I sat down in her office, and then she started, we were there for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And I remember leaving, okay? Now we're friends, and like I said before, she's one of my mentors. If I get a client that I have no idea what disease this is, I've never heard this condition in my entire life, and she will help me out with it. And she gives me a lot of her clients too, because now she's retired. So anyways, going back to when we first met, I was driving home and I was like, I wish I had a career like that. She works from home. She is so knowledgeable. She's helping these people with all these types of illnesses that no doctors out there could help. I'm like, this is such a fulfilling job. So this was a few years ago, right? And then I was finishing my 4th diploma at the time. And I finished it, or the 3rd. I don't even remember. But it was not the last one. Because the last one was when I prayed and God showed me what exactly I wanted to do and what I was meant to do and how He wanted to help me through that too. So those people, remember I told you that 3 people came to me and said the same thing, and I read in the Bible and all that. It just matched perfectly. Those people started talking to me about Carol that I had met a few years ago, and I had thought a certain way but never really pursued it. It was just a thought, yeah, okay, whatever. I was like, yeah, that, it's a cool job. It sounds cool. It looks cool. It feels good. It's fulfilling. It's all, but in, subconsciously, I was like, yeah, I can't do that. Yeah, I'm not good enough for that. And I just let it poof be. I didn't think that, but we tend to subconsciously think these negative things. Like we have a good idea, but then we kind of like leave it aside and then go on with our normal daily life and become miserable for the rest of our life. So basically, I didn't take that into account at the time. So these people that approached me after the prayer and this revealing, they started talking to me about it. Like, Deborah, I was thinking, why you love doing this and that and that. Why don't you call Carol? Why don't you get in contact with her? And then another person started talking to me about the same thing. These are very close people, okay? People that knew exactly what I was going through and knew what I was going through in my life at that moment. So their opinion really mattered to me. And the fact that 3 people came to me on the same day, apart from each other, they weren't close to each other, they didn't talk to each other at that day, and said the exact same things. And I had just earlier read in the Bible, and God had touched me so deeply that I was just like, dude, light bulb, and like, seriously, I didn't hesitate one bit. And I called her, or I messaged her, I don't remember. We met. This lady was so excited to help me. Anyways, long story short, I went to the same school that she went. So this was my last school, guys. I had to like convince my husband, like, no, hon, this is for real. This is like for real. I know what I want to do. This is it. So he said, okay, fine, go. And I became a registered holistic nutritionist. I got like this diploma over here. And then after that, I took other courses around. Okay, like I'm an Ayurvedologist, I'm a herbalist. It's all in the area. And I use that in my business now too. So she has been an inspiration to me. Okay. So what I want for you guys to understand is that whatever that core feeling that you have, guys, you're going to have to deal with it sooner or later. Try to find meditate on it, pray to God, speak to our Father, our Creator. He wants to give us abundant life. It's a promise. Jesus came here and died for us so we could have a relationship with our Creator. Like, how amazing this God is. Our God. So he wants to give us this superpower. It's like having a superpower best friend, that you could literally rely on, that loves you so much and is always there protecting you. So, and we reject that protection. We reject that superpower. I get really excited when I talk about God and Jesus because he has done so much in my life. And I know 100% that he is alive, just like it is written, just like, he told, like everything that he said came true. Every single thing. That is why he is the only truth, the only God out there that deserves honor and praise, because he conquered death. Every single thing that he did, he lived the life that he preached with no mistake. And he was the greatest healer and the greatest teacher of all times. Anyways, so guys, I just want to tell you guys, I'm talking about, for me, this was like a career, okay? So I wanted so much to help my husband, and feel that I'm contributing like here financially, and not just my husband, because I stayed so long taking care of our kids, which is hard work, and I loved it, but I wanted to do something that fulfilled me and that I could help with, for my husband, and will help and could diminish a little bit of his stress when it came to, to financial stuff. So, but it does not have to be a job. You could have that something that you really, really want to do. Or I wish I could become a dancer, or I wish I could be, or a singer, or I want to be part of a play, and perform in a, in a hall or in a studio, whatever that you like, whatever that is, that calling, go for it. Don't seek to do something because you want your parents' approval, your friends' approval, people's approval, who cares whose approval. Do it for you. As long as you're doing it, that you know it's something good for you and it will serve others, it will serve the greater good. Okay? Don't do anything evil, of course. That is, you definitely need prayer and God will take that desire away from you. But do what you want to do, because it's going to fill you with happiness inside. Because if you keep running away from the problem or that thing that is in the back of your mind, that is like a huge part of your blueprint, you're going to have to deal with it sooner or later. So deal with it now. Live the rest of your life fulfilled and happy. Who cares about what people are going to say or what people are going to think if you're going to have approval of your family? No. This is between you and God. Okay, if you know that this is a calling, if you know that this is what you want to do, and it doesn't matter if you start something and you fail, continue. Get yourself back up and go for it. Don't take no as an answer. No. There's so many people out there, my God, that people said no to them so many times, and today they're the most famous people out there and their most known person. And stop. Or I don't have the education that I need, or I don't have the energy like I used to, or listen, one step at a time. We always try to make an excuse for everything that we want to do. We're always afraid of something, and because we're afraid, because we're trying to please somebody else, we're trying to get someone else's approval, and we're scared of failure. What makes it a failure? Because you did something and it didn't work out? That's not a failure, that's an experience. You learned something from it. I have had so many failures in my life. If I were to look at my life and be like, oh my God, I failed so many times, I start stuff and I would never be here. Ever. I fail every day, but I don't see it as a fail. I see it as an experience, because we could only grow when we fail. Because when we fail, I know that I need to improve in this area and take this part out or add this part in and grow and grow and grow. Every company, anybody that is really successful out there, they failed once, except for Jesus. He was perfect from the beginning. But you fail. And it's funny that I'm saying that, but he taught his disciples and he teaches us. And the whole Bible is full of people that failed. God wants to use people that are not stuck up, people that think that they're no good for nothing. Those are the great people. Those are the people that Jesus wants to touch, because he knows your potential. He knows what we could do when we are attached to him. Don't let people put you down. Don't let your negative thoughts take you away and put you down. Be the person that you want to be, because you could do all things through Christ that strengthens you. That is a promise. And that is something that I always say and I always keep in my heart, and I always tell him, Lord, I cannot do this if you don't help me. And let me tell you something. The messed up child that I was, and all the crap that happened in my childhood and in my life and in my youth, I look at myself right now. You may not know. You might think like, oh, if ever you could do it, because you have the education, you have this, you could talk. Listen, you don't know my background. You don't know what I went through. You have no idea how much I suffered and how hard it was for me to reach where I am now. And let me tell you, I am not close to where I want to be. Okay? But I am very thankful, very, very blessed and thankful every day that I'm not where I used to be. But I'm glad that those things happened to me, because it built my character and it made the person that I am today. Okay? So, with that being said, please don't let your negative thought patterns take you away from doing what you know you want to do because of fear. Fear of what? What's the worst thing that could happen? Ask yourself that. I want to lose weight. I want to start working out. Okay? I want to have that body that I envisioned myself to have, and I want to be healthy, and I don't want to be tired anymore. I don't want to have the sluggish life and painful life and pains everywhere. I want to be that person that I envision myself. Why aren't you doing that? What are you scared of? What is the worst thing that could happen? The worst thing that could happen is death, okay? And you're not going to die. It's just a process. You just have to get started and start simple. Meaning, take one step at a time. Don't go full out blown like, oh, I could only start if I have a personal trainer and I have to go to this gym, because if it's not this gym, then I can't. Like, no. Listen, go for a walk, okay? Start eating healthy today. Today, eliminate bread. That's it. Let's work with the bread and go for a walk. That's it. Start like that. Tomorrow, instead of putting sugar in your coffee, you put stevia, okay? And you go for another walk, okay? And then the next day, then once you have that momentum going, then go look for a gym or if you don't want to go to a gym because you're embarrassed to go to the gym, then you just, what the heck did I just do? Oh, there you go. Oh, there you go. I got too excited, guys. I got too excited. Anyways, instead of going to a gym, work out from home like I do. I don't have time to go to the gym. Now I'm not going to work out. No, I need it. So what did I do? I got Beachbody on demand. I work out at home. And I love it because I could do all types of workouts with all types, it's like having a personal trainer at home. But I mean, you do what is best for you, but just don't overcomplicate things. Whenever we overcomplicate things, we reach nowhere. We go back to ground zero and we stay unhappy, miserable the way we are now. Don't do that to yourselves, guys, okay? If you have any questions, I'm always here and I'm always willing to help, all right? I think I spoke enough for today. God bless you all and reach for your goals, okay? Reach for your goals. Don't be afraid. Do not be afraid.